Thank you so much for staying
Yes.
with us.
Yes.
Maybe you should clear that. This is, first of all, a communication conversation.
Yes, and our next guest is struggling to respond or react to the fact that have you had you say it?
No, it's not for this guest. It's not for this guest. For the next guest.
Struggling to,
to boot up.
Boots.
No,
It's
the computer. It's the computer.
And she's going to. We're going to give her clarity just now.
Someone who came to give you clarity. I'm not there.
Right. So, clarity coach Motolani Abi, I hope I got that right, is here to talk about responding or reacting to situations.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
having me.
First of all, when there is a challenge of identifying whether or not you are responding or reacting, what's the first thing that's at fault or missing?
Say that again.
What's the first thing we are looking for when someone is divided between responding and reacting?
Look at this. Yoruba will say kilagbe kilaju. What did we throw? What did you catch? I mean, a situation happened. Are you responding based on what happened, or there is something that is informing how you are reacting to what just happened? Let me give a typical example. Say you're at work and a colleague made a statement to you and you're reacting and you're like, why would you talk to me like that? Am I your mate? Do you look at it holistically? Is it what the person said that is annoying you? Or there's something the person said that agrees with something that has been said to you before now that you have a problem with? I'll give you a practical example. So I was working on a project and I was being asked to go on TV to talk about the project. It wasn't exactly my core project, but I was overseeing, every activity. I oversee a lot of projects. And this particular one wasn't just my core. And a colleague, and so when they said, come and go on air, I'm like, hey, God, let me quickly put my thoughts together and let me be sure what I want to say about this project, the numbers of impact, the people who had reached and all of that. And a colleague of mine said, Madam, go on air and go and quickly answer this question. Don't you know about this project already? And I was offended. And I was going to react because, of course, she's a junior colleague. I wanted to get angry to say, why would you speak to me like that? And then I paused. Because the first thing you want to do is always pause. Take a second. Why did what she said, why did it annoy me? Why did I get angry? Because you also want to be able to name the emotions that you're feeling at the time. What was the emotion I was feeling? I was feeling angry. I was feeling not enough at the time. Because why would she challenge the fact that I'm supposed to just go on air and just say something? Now that pause made me realize that it wasn't about what she said. It was because before now, I already felt not enough. Because I didn't think I had a lot of information on that project. So what she said all just confirmed how I already felt about me not having all the details I needed. So it wasn't exactly about what she said, but how I interpreted what she said based on how I already felt about myself. So that comes to a reaction to say, oh, why would you? Because oftentimes when we react, it's not exactly by what had happened. It is how we have chosen to interpret the thing that had happened.
So it's like saying, maybe if I can put it in a different way, where you don't react to issues, you react to people.
Oftentimes, we are reacting to not even just the people. We're reacting to
how that person made you feel.
Yes.
Okay. So
it's about us most of the time, not exactly about the person or what the person has said. Because I could say, I could say to somebody, you're stupid, and the person is offended. And I could say you're stupid to someone else, and the person says, Yusuf, you're stupid. So there are things that someone would have said to you that wouldn't annoy you, but some other person said to you, and then you're offended.
You know what? You know this thing. Okay.
Yeah, because you would want to say, it's just a question. Are you stupid? And then you ask yourself, am I stupid?
Am I stupid?
I'm not stupid. So, hey,
so someone looks at you and says, you're a fool, and then you're offended that you can't call me a fool and I'm angry. I can't be offended by somebody calling me a fool. I'm not a fool. I know who I am. My identity is intact. So when you call me a fool, I'm thinking about it. I'm concerned about you. What's going on with you? And you find sometimes I'm driving on the road and you've on like, oh, can you get off the road? And some angry man is just angry. Is it because you're driving a car? It's not about me. The person is angry by whatever it is the person is going through. I'm just on the receiving end of the anger that is going on with the person.
Okay. So I was leading to somewhere. So you said something a little while ago. You said you know yourself. You are secure about.
I'm aware.
Aware of your personality.
Yes, I'm aware of who I am.
Good. You are aware of who you are.
Exactly.
So there is a self-awareness challenge there, right?
Yes.
So that is what makes people to question anything. As I've asked this question before. Are you mad? And someone took offense. Say, you are calling me a madman. Oga, didn't you hear this is a question mark?
I'm not mad.
The question that I asked you. And then I said, someone say, you are foolish. And the person said, how can you be calling me a fool? Foolish means you are not a fool. But so there's a self-awareness challenge there.
Yeah.
But then what is it because the person didn't know himself, or the person, because I have this philosophy, I have this theory, madam, that every single person on earth percolates whatever they receive from anyone through layers of years of experience of everything that they have gone through before they react.
Exactly.
So that's what you say.
A typical example of in marital settings now. So a man consistently calls his wife useless. It's a story that one of my mentors, it was a case of a woman that he had worked with, and would say, oh, you're useless, you're useless. The husband would always tell the wife, you're useless, and she would cry, because also maybe growing up, someone had made her feel, oh, you're not, you know how siblings, maybe your sibling likes to arrange the house, the other one does not. The mother will say, you're just useless, see this, your sister didn't do this. Now, a child growing up in that environment already does not feel enough. And then you get married, and then you have a partner who is consistently telling you, oh, you're useless, useless. You know what changed? She came in for therapy, and then we changed the meaning and said, it's how you're interpreting what this person is saying to you. What's the meaning of useless? Useless has two words. Use, less. If we flip it, it means less use. What if we interpret what the person is saying to, I lack the capacity to maximize you. I'm using you less. I do not have the capacity to maximize the potential that I have in my life. She started laughing. I said, oh, I didn't say it that way. Because there's something probably fueling what you're hearing. So, oh, they say I'm useless. And maybe a part of you already feels, maybe I am useless. Maybe I'm not doing as much as I wanted to do. And so we flip it. So she gets home. The man says, oh, you're useless. She's smiling because the man is only revealing himself to you to say, I do not have capacity. So when she changed the interpretation of what is being said, the man was wondering, why is she not getting angry? She's changed the interpretation. She's now responding. Yeah, she's no longer reacting.
Or maybe this response, responding and reaction could be of a lack of knowledge. The situation you have painted now, it seems to me like a lack of knowledge and of being aware of how she can interpret
interpretation.
Whatever is being pushed.
Exactly.
So it may not be because she feels she's been hearing it before and she actually feels useless, but she didn't know that, oh, she could interpret it a certain way.
If I call you, I say, oh, you're a stupid man, you're probably going to smile like, is this my guest? Is she okay? It's not who you are. Oh, but you're a stupid woman. You're wondering from where to where. As how. And that's why you can't go on the road and somebody is saying, Ayo, stupid woman. Ayo, stupid woman. You are Ayo. But you're not stupid. And you're not even a woman. So a part of your brain would be wondering what is happening with the other person. Not you begin to question, because nothing about you shows that you're a woman in any form or way. So it boils down to identity. How aware are you of who you are as a person? I tell people, before now, I don't take sessions around emotional intelligence because I didn't think I was, because I was one of the, give it to me, I'll give it to you, good measure, press down, shake it together, running over and all. But then as you grow, you learn. You can't react to everything, because you would make that. I hear people say, oh, you're making me into who I am not. No, it's in you.
Okay, so what about, let me put it this way. I think some of these, when you scold people or something, it's taken as an insult. Like when you tell a child or someone or an adult, don't be foolish, you're acting foolish or you're acting stupid. It's because the person probably did that. And I keep telling people it's not an insult, because growing up, I grew up in a space where that's what he said. And because you're actually acting that way at that time, that's why. And I keep telling people, oh, it's not an insult, it's just to say that,
but because a part of them already feels like they are, right. So they would interpret it as an insult. Because somewhere within their mind, they already feel, maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm not, So by the time you say it and you're asking a question, or have you heard, I don't know if you've had an experience where you're talking to someone like, I don't think this makes sense. And I mean, we're talking about something, and you're like, I'm not sure this makes sense. And the person say, oh, so you think I don't have sense? That's not what I said.
Yeah.
Let's focus on, and that's why oftentimes when people react to you, it's not exactly about you or what you said.
You need to say this again that you're saying. Here is why. Some man or some woman in a marriage right now, their marriage is on the brink because of that. No, this thing, I think, let's review this.
So it means
so I don't have sense. So, and a host of marriages, even right now, they are having that problem simply because somebody said something opposed an idea. Not maybe just have a different opinion to what you have, and then you bring out your AK-47. Simply because of that. So please help us explain that.
It's about how does a man sees himself? Does he not feel enough already before then, or is there a part of him that feels like maybe the lady is more intelligent? So because if you already begin to question your intelligence against someone, when they say something, or when you say something and they don't agree, then you are reminded about the inadequacy that you already feel about yourself. To say, oh, could it be because she's more intelligent is why she's not agreeing with this? Does that mean your head is the one doing all the interpretation? Not necessarily because of what the person has said. So you are the one doing the interpretation to say, oh, could that mean that I'm not smart? Could that mean no? Can we have a conversation? Can the superior argument win? The person who has better ideas, can we follow that as a family? Instead of, oh, I'm the man of the house, I'm the head of the home. That you are the leader or the head of the home doesn't mean that you are the smartest. Your job is to be able to harness the potential and the skills of everybody within that family to ensure that the family is in the direction that we want to go. Not that whatever you say, because you can sincerely be wrong. Sincerely. You feel like you know, but you don't. It's like having a wife who is an accountant, and you want to handle the finance where you have nothing. Maybe you're in the tech space, you have no idea how to run money, and then you are not allowing your wife run the finances. I'm not saying the one who wants to buy hair and show, but like this person makes solid decision in terms of money.
What is wrong?
The family fit. Nothing is wrong in buying, but in managing
I didn't say anything. I'm innocent.
It's in managing the finance. You can even buy the hair and shoe.
If it's an investment banker or someone who understands finance, the person should handle the finance of the home, because the person will make better decisions than you will do.
Okay, I have you here. Thank you, my director. So I wanted us to highlight that so someone understands. I should also say this. I have this orientation. I've, had a couple of master classes here and there. And I have come to realize something, that one of the most underrated skills in the world today is communication.
Exactly. Yeah.
Grossly underrated, because we assume we are communicating, or rather we have communicated when it hasn't even started in the first place. So how do you tell anyone who knows how to talk that they don't know how to communicate?
Isn't communication two ways? So what I have done, I also had an experience where you have given instruction to somebody to say, "Oh, get this done," and they go ahead and do something entirely different. And parents do it all the time. Maybe not all the time, most of the time.
Come and then put it on my head.
Yeah, and then you tell your child, "Go get this done," and you're not specific. Put water on fire. You did not say how much. And then you get to the kitchen and say, "Do you want to boil water for the old street?" Mommy, you did not specify. You are not specific. Is it 1 cup of water? Was it 2 cups? Or you're cooking and maybe the beans is almost done. You just need little water. You just say, "See that beans? When you get there, check if there's water there. If there's no water, pour water. Or pour more water." You are assuming that your child can do the calculation of how much water is left to finish cooking the beans. And then you get there, you've seen the water that has been added, and you're angry. No, you did not communicate properly. You did not give a clear instruction as to the quantity. You see that teacup or whatever cup, you must have a specific bowl or something you can use in just half of it or quarter of it or little of it. Be specific.
No. Is she not supposed to know?
She's not supposed to know. She's not you. She's not an adult. In fact, have you not seen some adults that you're seeing something in one way and they're seeing it entirely different? And you, as an adult, looking at another adult and you're wondering, shouldn't you know? No, they don't know. So if you want to get the job done, explain how you want to get the job done.
Okay.
And when you're giving them the instruction, ask, what do you understand by what I've said?
Okay.
So that you want to just be sure that you're all on the same page.
So let's cap this aspect of the conversation this way, that this particular topic of responding, reacting, because we are going to other things, is in as saying you respond to issues but you react to people. Is that a fair summary?
I would rather say that responding is more intentional.
Okay.
Reaction
Is emotional.
is more emotional because you're looking at something that had happened. You're comparing. There's something that has happened in time past. You're comparing to what is happening now. That gives a reaction. Intentionality is you looking at what is happening now. I'm focused on what you said. Who said it? I'm looking at this situation. I'm not relating it to anything that's happened in time past. It gives me time to respond. And I usually would say, if you do not want to be that reactive person, you want to always respond, then you need to learn things. Pause. P-A-U-S-E. The P is pause. Pause. Don't say anything, don't do anything. If you're in a heated situation or something has happened that wants to make you react, take a pause. Then the A is ask. What emotions am I feeling based on what the person has done or based on what the person has said? You need to be able to name your emotion. Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling sad? What emotions am I feeling?
Am I feeling inadequate?
Am I feeling inadequate because this person, said this? And you want to understand why. Why did you feel that way? Because if you understand it, for me, when the anger was the emotion I felt when my colleague mentioned that I felt angry. How would she say that to me? But then I also need, because I had paused, I'm trying to understand. Why am I angry? I am angry because, Tolani, really, you do not have all the details that you should have. So it wasn't because of what she said. So I understand where that was coming from. And the S is, what could I have done differently? Because it wasn't just exactly because of what is being said. How do I disengage from that word that she said or the thing that she did? And then the last one is, how am I possibly P-A-U-S-E? I've forgotten what the E is, but the last thing is, how am I then responding? Now, by the time I'm evaluating now. Yes, I'm evaluating because I have paused. I've paused. I have analyzed. I'm asking questions to say, why am I feeling like this? Now, it has given me enough time to say, okay, this is actually the reason why disengages, no, S, I can't remember what the S is right now, but then because I'd paused and I understand now, I've been able to pull back and said, no, I would not respond, I will not react like this, because I have evaluated the whole situation. That way it helps me to respond appropriately. You know, I walked up to her, I was angry at first, I walked up to her, I gave her a hug, because it wasn't about what she said, it wasn't about her, it was about how I interpreted my inadequacy as to what had happened that was making me feel that way.
There are some environments they call high stakes environment. This kind of your pause strategy.
No, you needed to. And that's why you seen, I read something online one day where a nurse said, oh, a conductor kept, charging at her, I think she's giving him the money, he couldn't remember, and the charge was ongoing. The guy had insulted her so much. And by the time she got down, she said, when I got down from the bus, I planned to insult him back. But by the time I, got down from the bus, this conductor just jumped down and he fell. Of course, she's a nurse, she checked him. The guy was gone. And then she wrote it on, it was a WhatsApp group, and then she wrote it, she said, right there she was thinking, like, because the guy had insulted her so much. And if she was to react, maybe she had insulted him, maybe had said, you don't worry, you will soon die. People will not let her go. They say, it was you that said she would die. Or she had pushed him or had locked his shirt or something. You also want to take a pause, because you know how a fight will start. You know how an argument will start. You just don't know how it will end.
Like the Iran war, we don't know how it's going.
You don't know how it will end. So for your own good, it's also okay for you to take a pause before you react to any situation or person.
Now, this whole thing, has a lot to do with cognition. And Joke and I were talking about something a little funny, but also very, very serious for the future, which is the fact that screen time is killing brains.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're talking about that. So cognitive aptitude of today's generation, so-called Gen Zs, has come down drastically. And we understand that, of course, it's data-backed, from research and all of that. Their parents are smarter than them. Meanwhile, it's supposed to be the other way around. How do you tell a Gen Z to stop, to not react and respond? Because if you check on what some people jokingly call social media, you see a lot of reacting as opposed to responding. And that's what informs bullying, cyberbullying and all of that. So how do we tell that young generation to make this transition?
Identity. That young generation, that young boy, that young child came from a family. What as the parents or the guardian, whoever is responsible for that child, what have they done to let the child understand or know who he or she is? And that happens, especially, I've had a case where this child says, oh, everybody insults me and say, oh, I'm too chubby, I'm too big. The question is, you're not slim. Until you come to that awareness of, this is who I am. I'm a size 12 or I'm a size 14. You're not a size 8. It's like someone looking at me and say, oh, Tolani, you're supposed, I don't know. I used to be really skinny. When someone looks at me and say, oh, Lekpashandi, and they call me all sorts of names, you're slim. I am. I'm not angry about who I am, because I'm comfortable in it. So if parents can sit with a child and help your child understand who they are, their identity, then someone would not call them outside names and then they're reacting. And I usually would use the example that I used earlier. You're a boy. Are you aware that you're a boy? Yes, I'm a boy. If you go outside and someone says, Ade, you're a stupid girl, do you respond to the person? No. What would you do? I will start smiling. Maybe the person doesn't know what the person is doing, because I know that I am not a boy. So if you are so sure of your identity as a boy, then when someone calls you a name that is not yours, it shouldn't bother you, because that's not who you are. So parent needs to reinforce their children's identity to them per time. That way they don't go out to misbehave, because a child will misbehave where they don't know who they are. They would misbehave when they've forgotten who they are. The same way they would be offended by, it's like calling a prince a beggar or any other thing than a prince. He's unbothered. What you call him does not change who he is as a prince.
How do we reinforce this with this campaign against bullying that we have in school? Because responding and reacting is still part of it. You know, you say someone is the bully someone. You know how bullies behave. So you react to a bullying situation. I say I am not what they say I am. Like in school. So I mean, how do you reinforce that in children? Because from a young age, it affects their, how do you call it now? Their psyche, self, what do you call that again? You know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, their self-esteem.
Yeah.
In that sense, it affects them if they actually listen to what the bullies say and they, imbibe it and say, oh, maybe I am like that after all. Or they don't know how to react to it.
So for that word to affect, what word have you said at home?
Right.
The bully has said it how many times? What positive word are you saying, and how many times are you saying it? I don't know if we understand what I'm saying.
7, 8, 9-year-olds, or not big people.
If you go to school and then someone said something to that child and it affect the child once, because somebody said it maybe once or twice, I'm saying before the child went to school, what have you said to the child,
right,
to boost the child up before the child got there? So I have 7, 8 years old who would say, oh, somebody called me this, but it didn't bother me because that's not who I am. Because the parents had consistently said, see, this is who you are. You are intelligent, you're smart, you're this, and I've shown you, you see, when you do this, that's very good, that's very intelligent, that's a smart one. You did something, you affirm them from time to time.
Yeah.
And then you also help them see the reason why the bullies sometimes do the things that they do. Maybe the bully does not have the parent as loving as you are, or they don't love themselves. You help them see, so every time they encounter a bully, it's empathy that they feel for the bully too. I know why you do the things that you do. But it's whatever it is you want to say, and because the bully will always come back when they know that whatever it is they say to you affects you. But you as a parent, you have that responsibility to consistently affirm your child. Help your child understand who they are. I'm intelligent, I'm smart, regardless of what anybody says. So 1 time or 2 times somebody says something different from what you have said to them, is that enough to change what it is that you have consistently told them over the years?
Identity. It might be a little difficult for a Gen Z parent to talk to a Gen Z about identity when the parent themselves don't have identity.
It's true. True.
I say that thing from time to time.
Yeah.
Someone who has not been parented cannot parent anybody. So unfortunately, we tend to have a bit of that, in this generation, in this day and time. So I also sense that there might be, and I don't think we have spoken about that one, a cultural stroke, social influence or permutation to this discussion of self-awareness in terms of responding and reacting. Because sometimes some things that hold in Nigeria, they don't hold in Afghanistan. Some things that we consider, some perspectives we have here in West Africa is not the same as they have in South Africa. So is there a cultural influence to this whole conversation?
Yes, I think so. And that would be because you have seen kids who maybe travel a lot, and they're in Nigeria, they come to school and they greet maybe their class teacher who is a typical Nigerian, and you say, hi, Miss Jane. That's a greeting. The child comes to school and say, hi, Miss Jane. I go, good morning, Miss Jane. I just walk past. But Miss Jane, who is maybe a typical cultural Yoruba woman, who expect that when you pass by me, how you show me that you respect me is that you kneel and greet me good morning and then pass. But this child who maybe grew up in an environment where they travel a lot, and every time she sees or he sees anybody greeting, it's just a hi, good morning, or a good morning, or a handshake, and the child is gone. But you now want to go and greet a typical African, typical mother, like we would say, who is forgetting that she's mothering at home and she's a teacher in a school. And then she goes, hi, Miss Jane. I say, you come here. That's culture. The question you want to ask is, and that way you're reacting. Because the question you want to ask is, did the child greet you or not? Greeted. Or the child even said, good morning, Mrs. Jane. What you expected was a nil. That's culture. So if you're reactive, if you're getting angry because the child greeted you that way, it wasn't because of how the child greeted you, whether the child greeted you or not. It was how you were expecting the child to greet you. So you are going to react. But if you just say good morning, it's safe to just say good morning and let it go.
Okay. I'm still staying with culture. And I think it is necessary so that the viewer knows that what obtains in their generation will not necessarily obtain with the Gen Zs and the upcoming Gen Alpha. So, which one is it? A young person, let me not cast Gen Z before they call for me. A young person is working in an organization and just 3 months into the job just picks his or her bag and says, I'm done here, and leaves. Simply because somebody didn't talk to them the way they want. Or they just feel something and they just move. Is that responding or reacting?
Okay, that's two ways. We also want to note that we've not been able to build resilience in the generation, not for all of them. Also depends on how they are being raised. And that's why you would see someone failing JAM once or WAEC once and they want to commit suicide. In those days, you had people fail WAEC like 5 times. You fail once, you go and do it again. 2 times, like, but this time, because it looks like things come easy, there is nothing, or there's no intentionality in building resilience in the child at home. So when they fail once and then they have attached failure, for exam means I have failed in life, and that still comes to identity. To say that you wrote an exam and failed does not mean that you are a failure. And that's why I would tell parents, if a child misbehaves, tackle the behavior. Don't label the child. The child stole something or took something that is not his. Don't say you're a thief. No. Let's stop labeling. Or the child lied to protect themselves from something, and then you label the child, you are a liar. The child failed one exam, you failed.
Or you're a failure.
Or you are a failure. And the child begins to feel, oh, so the other child who did well, is the one who is, who is a success. These are the things that make this generation not resilient enough. So something is not working well, they back down. Growing up, something is not working well, you will stay there till it works.
Reminds me of, I don't know if you know, some mothers do have them. Frank Spencer. That he was with his therapist, and he said he was a failure, and the therapist tried to convince him that you're not a failure. Yes, but eventually the therapist agreed at the end of the day that he was a failure. It's a sitcom, and he said for the first time, you are right and I am wrong as a therapist, that you are actually a failure. Was that Frank Spencer?
No, don't worry. No, Frank Spencer is not a normal person. I don't even know.
Failure in what sense?
I don't know.
There must be something that...
I don't know the difference between Frank Spencer and Mr. Bean. So they're not people to be taken seriously. Now, in terms of building resilience, because the topic we are talking about seems simple, responding versus reacting. But we are looking at it not from a psychic, whatever perspective, but from a lifestyle perspective. Because you get on the bus, you are at the airport or something. Your security man at your gate just does something, and you don't allow the things to simmer at all. You just serve him hot. So those are the things that we are trying to look at now. Now, someone who has not Gen Z, older, maybe whatever age, and if they still find themselves, even as we are talking now, reacting to issues, and they are now having listened, now that they see that it's not about the other fellow, it's about them, what are the first steps you would recommend? Those
are the things that I mentioned earlier. Pause.
Okay, pause.
Sometimes maybe you woke up with a terrible headache, you struggled out of bed, you're going to work, it was traffic, and then you get to work, and then you're giving one of your team members to get something done, and they haven't done it, and then you're frustrated. That's why I said number one thing you want to do is pause. Don't say or do anything until you be able to ask why you're feeling. What emotion are you feeling? You are angry about the fact that this person has not done what they should have done in a way that you wanted it, because you're just not in the mood to start correcting anything at that point. So take a pause and don't take out your anger on people. You need to be able to name your emotion, and it's something that I see with women sometimes. Maybe when they're on their period, you're suppressing so much pain. For people who feel pain, during menstruation, I've heard women say, I'm just really cranky, I'm angry when I'm on my period, I can't explain why. Because you need to still appear like all is well, yes. You're okay, in the middle of pain. So every little thing will annoy you. And you get things like you should have been used to it by now. So how do you want to take a pause? In fact, it was something that used to happen to me some years back. I'm just angry for no reason. Growing up as a child, my mother would say, hey, leave her, you people should just leave her alone. Even I at the time could not name or speak to what I was feeling until I came to that awareness. Awareness is one of the core things that you need to be self-aware. And I realized that when am I angry the most? Why? It's the pain. I'm trying so much to not let people know that I'm on my period. I'm trying so much to not, bend and let people see that I'm in pain. Just leave me alone. Let me be. Every question becomes a stupid question. Like everything would irritate you. By that time, I now know. So I announce to people around me, I'm on my period. We all know that we all are going to be on this period together. And because I'm very aware, when you're talking to me, that I would usually react and get angry, I'm saying, no, it's the pain. How would I have responded to this person if I was not in this pain? So that moment, we need to learn to take a pause. Don't always, in fact, sometimes when you have that, take that 5-10 minutes pause, you realize that it's not even worth responding to. Like, there's no point. I don't know if it's happened to anyone where you are angry at somebody, you want to say something to them, you didn't say the person immediately, or you are not able to do that immediately, and it's taking maybe some few seconds. By the time the person shows up, like, why was I even angry in the first place? So it wasn't really about what the person was. You at that time unable to manage your own emotions. I know some people or someone who says that because they're not able to, they wanted to get angry and they wanted to respond during that anger, not say things that you wouldn't want to say, but that once the moment passes, it's all that because I'm unable to be angry and say the things I wanted to say, there's no point. There's no point. I'll wait for another day, because maybe another day will always come to get angry with you. Because now they've taken time to pause, and at that point you're just wondering, what am I even saying? Why am I? Because you also want to look. Would the person even understand? Is there a need? Is there a reason for me to start? It's like me entering, for example, let's say I enter into a bus and the conductor is trying to fight me. Does it make sense for me to respond? The conductor is probably angry with his life. He's probably frustrated. I have a fine face to protect, and I want to get into a fight with somebody who already has marks all over his body. He's got nothing to lose. Yeah. So, you also want to take a pause and think about the consequences of if I engage in this reaction. If they hit me, if this guy lands a blow on my face and I have a swollen face, he doesn't have anything to lose. You want to always take a pause. This thing that you're just saying, it reminds me why I don't, if anyone bashes me, I don't get out of the car. I just drive off, because it is the pain of the car. Of the cost of the car is one thing. Yeah. The pain in my body
Mechanic cannot mend down.
No panel beater.
No panel beater. We have to thank you very much for coming
thank you for
this
having
morning,
me.
for joining us for this conversation. You know, you see, it's been a little extended. I think it's because we also didn't want to react. We wanted to respond to the issues because they are very, very important. So when you get online and you're angry, you know, about what government is doing or not doing, are you responding or reacting?
Or reacting.
What do you lose? Really, why are you losing? I mean, someone is selling tomatoes and you're saying dollar is increasing. What?
And that's why you see people post, they're happy online. If a happy family is posting on social media, someone is in the comment section saying nasty things. It's not about the happy family, it's the frustration. So in all of this frustration, you have the audacity and the right to be happy. So things are working for you. So people just unnecessarily pour their anger and frustration on other people, so on social media.
They are reacting, they are not responding.
They are reacting, definitely.